Today we are going to consider the key features of audiological assessment. This is not meant to be comprehensive, rather it's an introduction to the key features of such assessment. Screening seeks to identify those who require more detailed assessment. Detailed assessment requires a trained audiologist. For further consideration of this complex area, please read the attached chapter by Clark and Newton. Detailed audiological assessment can only be carried out by trained specialists. For some low and middle income countries, such specialists are sparse, and this raises significant challenges for any comprehensive provision of services. This is further complicated by the lack of technological support for the repair and calibration of equipment and poor or unreliable electricity supply. The availability of solar-powered equipment, including pure-tone audiometers, means that power supply issues need not be so problematic. The classic order of presentation for a diagnostic audiological assessment is 1. Case history, 2. Otoscopy, 3. Hearing assessment to assess the degree and type of hearing loss, 4. Additional tests for site of lesion. Case histories in children may be difficult to unpick, as many parents may be unsure of the importance of infections and raised temperatures. They may not wish to share treatments they have been suggested by local healers. Traditional healers are an important local source of knowledge and healing and provide a fast and readily accessible source of information. Some examples from a study of local healers in South Africa suggested deafness was linked to ancestors, bewitchment, the disturbance of an inner spirit, or impure blood. The different worldview of traditional healers should be respected and work with to enable families and to inform our approach and remind us we need to be culturally sensitive. Otoscopy. This refers to the visual inspection of the ear canal and eardrum. This is important as chronic middle ear disease in children is known to be very high, with complication rates from acute infections being significantly higher in low and middle income countries. It may be possible to offer treatment for early infections. Chronic middle ear disease is highest in the Australian Aboriginal and Inuit populations. Additionally, there may be wax occluding or blocking the eardrum. There's a lack of data in this area for low and middle income countries, but even impacted wax can result in a mild hearing loss. Hearing assessment needs to be undertaken in a quiet environment. Equipment may rely on mains power, standard batteries or solar-powered batteries. All test equipment needs to be calibrated regularly to ensure that the test signal produced is interference-free and consistently producing a pure tone at the frequency and intensity specified. A pure-tone audiometer allows a trained audiologist to identify the degree and type of hearing loss in each ear across the speech frequencies, those that are important for the understanding of speech. The definitions of degree of hearing loss vary. This shows those done by Northern and Downs against the WHO classification of hearing impairment. Mild, 26 to 40 decibels, able to hear words at 1 metre. Moderate, 41 to 55 decibels. Note 41 to 60 values used by the WHO. Able to hear words using a raised voice, hearing aid recommended. Moderate to severe, 56 to 70 dB. Note 61 to 80 dB values used by the WHO. Able to hear some words when shouted, hearing aids needed if no aids, lip reading or sign required. Severe, 71 to 90 dB. Note 81 or greater values used by the WHO. Unable to hear or understand even shouted voice. Hearing aid may help, additional habilitation required. Profound, greater than 91 dB. It is possible to test children as young as 3 using play audiometry. The child must be able to wait whilst holding an object and respond to a signal, in this case a pure tone. Care must be taken to have simple objects that do not distract a child. They can drop a bottle top into a box, place a ring on a peg, or utilise any other simple object that can be released or stacked when a signal is heard. It is important to teach the skill that is required. A tester may hold the child's hand and say go, then guide release of the object a number of times until the child has been conditioned and understands what they have to do. For developmentally young children, testers need to use a frequency-specific signal. When trying to see if a child can hear, it is easy to think that clapping hands or rustling paper is useful, but it will only tell you a child cannot hear at one frequency. It does not give us enough information and can even be misleading. Instead, a tester can use their own voice using go, condition, and then use warbled tones that are generated by a free-field audiometer. Once the child is conditioned to respond, the tester goes behind the child, starting close, but ensuring no tactile or other cues are presented. If a child responds, the tester moves back a metre and presents the signal again. The idea is to look for a level the child needs to hear. If there is no test equipment, the tester can simply use go and s sounds as the frequency of each is known. This means that it is possible to use a voice to check for hearing of low and high frequency sounds. To ensure the signal level is known, a sound level meter is used. If you've not already downloaded a sound level meter app, do so now. Parents can be enlisted to help with such testing, and this may help them understand that their child has a hearing loss. Where physiological tests can be undertaken, usually in major centres, it is possible to use objective tests to assess the status of the middle ear using tympanometry, the status of the outer hair cells in the cochlea using otoacoustic emissions, the auditory brainstem response from the cochlea to the cortex, and the ability of the cortex to recognise speech sounds using corticals. As technology develops, the ability to have access to such tests will widen, but currently they are either unavailable or limited to major teaching hospitals. Whatever the test approach, a major factor in ensuring such testing is useful is the way this information is explained to parents and individuals with hearing loss. Terms such as mild or moderate only describe the degree of hearing loss, not the effect on an individual. The cultural belief sets and implications of such news to a parent may be significant and long-reaching. If a mother is on her own, the task of sharing such information may be overwhelming. Such information may result in that parent being excluded or punished by the local community. As with any parent of a deaf child, it is important that the news is clear and accessible, that professionals explain what is known and not known, and what treatment habilitation options are explained clearly. Many parents need such